Hey, it picked right up right where we left off in the Garridebs place. Let's begin. Let's continue, shall we? Talking to Mr. Garrideb. Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrideb. Please, do tell us. Ah, yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So I moved in very recently, then. I have 2 lodges most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see. There'd been... Ah! Dash it all, Joe. Do be careful. Oh, my goodness. I'm terribly sorry, sir. I forgot the voice I gave her. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. I don't think that's the voice I gave her last video, but fair enough. Oh? Why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man's trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh, yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Alright, tell us of all of the things. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? About your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. He never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshelf every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed, too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Ah. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh! The last place I expected. I'd understood that neither of those lodgers live on this floor of the house, correct? That's right, yes. They're both below us, on the first floor and street level. And how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed. Good grief, Joan. Be more careful, woman. Oh my goodness. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Indeed. Something doesn't add up here. Incident 2 days ago. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out the window at around that time? The window? Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement, just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrideb household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan? No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary, then? Such as... anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well... yes? Was there something, then? Well, there's nothing particularly significant, but at around that sort of time in here, there... Ah! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing! Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir. Do be more careful, woman! Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Naruhodo? Ah, yes, that's my name. Oh, yes? I have an exceedingly good memory. As far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Garrideb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, I don't... God, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of... Ah! Joan, dash it all. What is the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir? Nothing happened. Right. That checks out. Yes. Quiet. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan? That's right, Mr. Garrideb. What is the matter with these two? It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly. Just below us on the first floor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak. Yes, told me Nat's his name had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. And all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. Because it really rather feels like we're not going to get anything more from these two. Even when they're a little worse for wear, English rooms are so splendidly colorful. The workplace of the world's greatest detective. Oh, it's a dream come true. Alright. Natsume's room. Wow. February, Mr. Natsume's room. Bricked up windows. That's depressing. What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think. Yes. Once upon a time. For some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true. But according to what Mr. Garrideb told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Are you in here? Oh, we can't examine that. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature. They all smell so musty. This volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No, what a dreamy idea. A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. So reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony reaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. It's an area I'm unfamiliar with. Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. And Sasogi did. We were Asogi's Maneki Neko, I suppose. You're forgetting the enormous Dharma doll that you brought in your luggage. Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. Oh. Oh. I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same. And this cat is sure to beckon good luck for it. Good luck to him. I believe Maneki Neko literally means beckoning cat. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Read my mind. Why am I such a giveaway? Speaking of cat. Book. Window. Do you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although all that remains is a frame around some bricks now. So it really is just a wall then, isn't it? Why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on it in a bit of whimsy. That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive. It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying. It's no wonder he's constantly on the verge of panic. He's probably drowning in stress being in a place like this. Hi, cat. Cat! Where are you going, cat? No, come back. Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Miike, was it? They even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. It's made me feel homesick now. Miike? Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. We've also been on a boat for several weeks. Now, haven't we? Miike Japanese bobtail. Very accurate coloring. The desk seems to be wedged into a crevasse between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes. Surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books. Oh, yeah, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, date of purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in a terrible attack. Must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Anything else to see? I think there was something. Yes. Look at all these balls of paper on the floor. There are notes scrawled all over them, in English. Looks like the waste paper basket is so full they've just fallen out. I think Mr. Natsume must have been deeply immersed in his research, don't you? Or deeply averse to tidying up his mess. Or both. I wouldn't like to speculate which is closer to the truth. What can we see? I think we're done for this end. Over here. Hi! Ah! Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Aha! There he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. Hope you won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Buria. Ah, yes, of course, the Buria. Let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Cosmo Sogi. He died. Tragically, but you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course. The case of Mr. Sogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh! Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great old Herlock Sholmes. Yes, what an honor. This is Mr. Oh, no, my dear madame. Hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely reported in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo. And Mr. Susato. Close. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yard has ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. They apprehended Soseki-san in that short amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls that can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, of an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. My goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased. And this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. Smooth transition. I always do that. Mr. Naruhodo, please. Despite aspersions to the contrary, I'm a professional. I am to unleash my deductive powers of that trinket. I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash. Oh, I don't need you to make any deductions about it. I was just wondering if you might know... Mr. Naruhodo, as a professional, I insist that if I'm to offer my opinion on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash. I believe Mr. Sholmes has his eye on an expensive copy of the complete works of Shakespeare. Yes, to stand on the stage amid rapturous applause. It has long been a dream of mine, as you know. I literally had no idea. Fair enough. Let's chat. Natsume's arrest. You know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes. For the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eyes while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorant. I am truly ignorant. It appears that the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. It doesn't make sense. The good detectives of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties. Hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. I butchered the pronunciation of that word. Do not be deceived into believing that I'm a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Think about Mr. Garrideb. Ah, and tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yeah, Mr. Garrideb. A retired military man. It was the first time I ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. It was the first time I've ever met a maid from the greatest... I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes! I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not our household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. Oh, it's the status symbol. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in this situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired Army veteran, Mr. John Garrideb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. You got that impression, too. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost what he means to say. There's definitely something going on between him and Joan. We're not sure if it has anything to do with the stabbing outside. Could be just completely unrelated. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my boy. I assure you, as any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? Surely, not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness! Yeah, same, that's... weird thing. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. Ah, again the means. The window tax was apparently a legit thing. England, France, and Ireland in 18th and 19th centuries. And yeah, to avoid the tax, some houses can be seen to have bricked up window spaces, ready to be glazed or reglazed at a later date. Yeah, I suppose, until recently. It was introduced in 1696 in England and repealed in 1851. It was still present in France till 1926. And Scotland only had for like 1748 till 1790, so 50 years. Came along afterwards and got rid of it before England got rid of it. So 1851, it's close enough to, I'd say, recently in this instance. Of course, the divide between upper class and middle class. Those that can afford to pay the tax do it to curry favor. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. Though some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. What if this is early 1900s? That's close enough. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging. Discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week. Wrong voice. Apparently Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Why does this room cost so little? And why is it not the friggin' window and measly size of it? Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remember that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes. Trust. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? I came back to read. Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room. And there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Huh? Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us! I I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garrideb is... Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. Whoosh. Busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Indeed he has. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, so true. To be, or not to be. That is indeed the question, Mr. Naruhodo. To be or not to be brushed off, that is the question. The answer is all too clear. Let's leave Mr. Sholmes in peace, shall we? A clue from Susanna. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes? Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Generous. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Oh, now then, why don't you tell me what... Ah! The umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bally well doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'll be so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb is hiding something. Since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Oh! What's that I spy with mine eyes? Something that starts with the letter Herlock. Ah! What's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes! Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Ah, good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. Whatever were you doing over by that window? I'm given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well. Keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of certain great detectives' great mind. Ah, wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Oh, yeah. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes? There's a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo? I think so. There was just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let's conclude the matter before dark. Oh yeah, let's do this, baby. Mr. Garrideb, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service. Your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call a first rate. Hmm? I'm afraid, sir, that is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon? The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Dad? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. Now, how could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. Ah! I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Let's do it. Topic 1. Nature of the beasts. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Oh? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Aye. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast had its run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Would you catch that on its face? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you might have imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. That's a really detailed fire animation in the background, look at that. Ah. Yes, you sought to dispose of the terrifying lion, Mr. Garrideb. At Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park, I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. A simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. A rampaging Asiatic lion. Alright, topic 2. Aftermath. Now, Mr. Garrideb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man. I simply... What we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. Uh-oh. That got looks from them both. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains a demand for payment. 4 cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on your financial circumstances of your household. And so you have had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last, unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. Could have caused such a destructive outburst? Another look? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. Well, that certainly went places. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. What's the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at these times, too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but, can I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? Again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realm of common sense. Where's that clip of Seto Kaiba in the dubbed Yu-Gi-Oh anime going, I just transcended common sense? I feel like that's applicable here. Would it be an idea to consider what lies ahead inside the realm of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, do you think Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt? Or worse? Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. But you said they sold the lion to the circus, not blew it to smithereens with a cannon. What about the food? Potatoes are one thing. I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Miss Susanoo, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they just drink tea. British cat, tea. British lion, tea. They are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Alright then. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling this was coming. A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it. Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Ooh. Course correction. Order, Mr. Sholmes. Let's do it. Rampaging lion, huh? It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Aye. A furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? Must follow Mr. Garrideb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. Alright, lion statue. Oh? What is this? What's this photograph? Every time I do it, it makes me laugh. Wait, that's not how it goes. It appears to be from Mr. Garrideb's wedding. Looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but we can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. They must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. Wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. It's broken so you can't see the bride's face at all. No amount of crack could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. And yes, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you want to upset, that's for sure. Oh, look! Have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes, that's an unusual design. Looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. Is that relevant? Just had Mr. Garrideb. Must have been when Mr. Garrideb was still in the army. He seems to be carrying his rather stout bride effortlessly and beaming a smile at the same time. I suppose he was very strong in his younger years. Hard to imagine now. He's as thin as a rake. Is that what we're going for? Photograph frame? Mortar shells! These are shells for the cannon, aren't they? What a strange place to keep them. Imagine they have some significance to Mr. Garrideb. His time in the army. Ah, of course, he mentioned a battle to us before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him. That would annihilate you. Around that size that hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it. Mr. Garrideb, for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper. This man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. go, picture frame. Oh. We go, picture frame.
Take that!
Nope. Clink. Guess we go newlywed. Behind the lion statue on the mantelpiece, almost deliberately hidden from view, is a photograph. But I get to examine it in detail, I can assure you that it holds the answer. As I'm employing an extremely advanced deduction technique called jumping to conclusions, you see. That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting never to have heard it. Quite pained by it, in fact. Oh, sorry. I'll try again. We do know with such certainty that a destructive creature has been at work in this room. Mr. Garrideb inadvertently looked in the direction of something that gives its identity away. Studied thoroughly enough, we ought to find the answer. And Mr. Garrideb turned to look at. It's here somewhere, we simply need to find it. Alright, let's point out the newlywed.
Take that!
There we go. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, you can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed. Surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. See that on his face again? The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast is in question, and question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh, dear. I'll go there. I don't know about defenseless either. She's wielding a very hot cup of tea that she's not afraid, mug of tea that she's not afraid to use. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garrideb anywhere. But it seems that there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrideb's wife could be. Maid. Gamer keys. There it is. You know that was coming. She's wearing a very large ring. Look! Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. It's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. Looks like it's on there for life, too. Can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size. Come on. Something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Yes. Do you know Mr. Garrideb's wife is in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. It was literally 30 seconds ago, Mr. Naruhodo. A large sunflower wedding ring. Quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? I wonder why that could be.
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives it away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garrideb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garrideb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garrideb herself. Oh my word! Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is the wife, yes. My Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a baldy corkerback. Ah! You deserve that one. It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? My golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society. It employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb has his wife? Works his maid? Just to keep up appearances as a middle-class landlord. Really kind of sad. Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret. Please. No guarantees. The raging wife of Mr. Garrideb. Yep, that certainly answers that question. Alright, so what happened here? Now, Mr. Garrideb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. This is one we've seen glimpses of before. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. Understandable. But Mrs. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. Perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head isn't in sadness, but something else. Has some other significance, then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? We saw glimpses of something odd on his face when he was flailing about before, Gamer Keys. And there it is. Oh my, look at that bright red mark. Gosh, that's quite something. And clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garrideb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard. Never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say. Examine his pipe? We can examine his pipe. That's a very large pipe, isn't it? Yes, anyone who has something that size hanging out of his or her mouth on a regular basis is sure to have a serious chin like Mr. Garrideb's. Very sharp chin. What's that white binding around it all about? Well, that's interesting. Is it old and busted? I think this is what we're looking for.
Take that!
Very obvious point that we've seen glimpses of earlier on in this deduction. Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joan Garrideb? Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide that slap mark on your cheek, sir. the blazes? How did you work that out, man? Nothing escaped the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, does explain it. Now let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into a rage. Oh, double glance. They both know. You need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food... No, don't say it. Don't say it. Mr. Garrideb's... Why, Mr. Naruhodo! She's a person, not a thing! Yes, well... She's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left the perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. It was not the bills. Look at all these bills. It certainly amounts to a great deal of food. Potatoes by the cartload, was it? Well, looking at the two of them, you can tell immediately who eats the lion's share in this house. Oh, come on. At least we're no longer talking about an actual lion anymore. Anything back here I can look at? Gamer keys? Nothing particularly notable. Oh, wow. Dish. It's broken plate. Oh dear, this plate has been smashed to pieces, and nobody seems inclined to tidy up the mess. Perhaps it's some sort of high art. Really, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, anyone who has a cannon on display in their living room is clearly a little eccentric. Yes, let's call it eccentricity. Bookmark? Bookmark? Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here. Look. Mr. Garrideb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Footmarks, made with lipstick. What a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Suzato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. This bookmark is actually a love note, then. Love note.
Take that!
Oh. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Ah! What? I don't know the bally woman. I'm John, not James. You don't know her. The note wasn't written to me. It's just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah! A likely story. Listen here, Joe. Don't think I explained at the time. Bought the book at that second-hand place. That note must have already been in there. The previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah! A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. Ah! Okay, now this is going a little too far. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? Okay, that's really going too far. There we have it. Rouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite. Ah. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? the aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. Who could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ooh. This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. But surely Mrs. Garrideb didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. Doesn't seem to be any doubt. The state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. You don't need to follow Mrs. Garrideb's gaze. That will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes! Gamer keys? Candlestick. Looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. Looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a close look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? There's one candle of the 3 missing from its holder. Do we pop that, or do we examine it? It looked like down here there was... The carpet here has been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, the tears match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. There it is. Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the most normal sense at all. Do you think this with that in mind? Okay, so we don't need to examine that. Circus handbill. It's an advertising handbill for the circus. Batty's Circus. It's in a nearby park. Isn't it the same as the one we saw earlier? The one that was folded up in Mrs. Garrideb's pocket. Perhaps they're very great circus lovers. It couldn't be that. The hungry lion is somehow involved again here, could it? Oh dear, I do hope not. This is... Alright, we'll just do candlestick. Oh shit, didn't we do that again? Very old candlestick, doesn't it? This looks too small. Surely it's very unstable.
Take that!
Bop. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remains of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Right there. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was at the scene of a little marital altercation. Ah! Mrs. Garrideb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. In seconds, the carpet was alight, and the whole quarter of the room in flames. Yes, The most ferocious beast in the world is neither a violent lion, nor a vengeful woman, but fire. In this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Oh? Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! Oh no! Good catch. Covered scorched by a small fire. Elementary. Alright. On that note, we're gonna sign off. Until next time. Until then. Be good. And take care. And of course, thanks for watching.